Before he can process anything, the monster has him by the throat, squeezing. His girlfriend hears his scream and rushes toward him, assuming he's just hiding in the bushes messing around. She calls out for him to stop playing games, and then his severed head rolls out and lands at her feet. Before she can even react, the monster steps out right in front of her. Two of the girls who managed to get out last are now sprinting through the woods toward the camp when one of them gets her foot caught in a trap. She's yanked up into the air, hanging upside down from a rope tied to a tree. At the start of the story, we're shown a bus packed with a crowd of people, all heading to a place called Good Friends Church Camp, where they were supposed to be getting ready for a spring break camp. On that same bus, we're introduced to their director, Doug, who steps up in front of everyone and starts laying out the rules for their activities at the camp, what they'd be doing once they arrived. Doug holds up a jar and tells everyone that for every good deed, a marble gets dropped in, and for every bad one, a marble gets pulled out. And if the jar fills up within a week, everyone gets a pizza party. Naturally, the whole group goes wild with excitement. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we're shown a doctor named Peter, who's out taking photos with his phone. Right at that moment, the Good Friends bus rolls past him, and it accidentally gets captured in one of his shots. And that's when he realizes those people are in serious danger, because he already knew that deep in these woods, something was lurking. Something called Bigfoot, a monster twice the size of any human, known for slaughtering people in the most brutal ways imaginable. Back at the camp, everyone has arrived and piled off the bus. The bus driver, visibly fuming about something, gets back behind the wheel to head out. But on his way, he spots two girls on the road whose intentions don't exactly look innocent. He stops the bus and lets them on, clearly for his own reasons. Now, parked along the road, a strange figure approaches the bus. A man dragging a chain attached to a cart stacked high with enormous pancakes, a massive axe in hand. He walks right up, pulls open the bus door, steps inside, and with a single swing of that axe, takes off both girls' heads clean off their shoulders. A gruesome, horrifying death. When the bus driver turns to see what's happened, the color drains from his face, because right then, the creature appears beside him. The monster drives a thick rod straight up through the driver's head and out through the roof of the bus, killing him on the spot. We then watch as the big, shaggy beast pours the blood of all three victims over his stack of pancakes like syrup. Somewhere else in the woods, two guys from the camp group are sitting around getting high. The property owner catches them in the act and forces them to work. But these two clowns actually manage to get the guy high himself, and the stuff hits him so hard that everything around him starts feeling completely real. Taking full advantage of his blitzed out state, the two friends prop up a couple of dummies in their place and slip away. The owner, fully lost in his hallucination, stares at the dummies like they're real people, when suddenly the monster shows up behind him. He spins around, and through his haze, he doesn't see a monster at all. He sees his wife, because by this point, his brain is completely fried. He stumbles toward the creature and starts sniffing its hair, thinking it's her. The monster does not appreciate that one bit. It grabs him by the throat, lifts him into the air, then squeezes his face with both hands so hard that his head, spine and all, gets ripped clean off his body. A death as horrific as it sounds. The two friends, now bolting through the trees, run straight into a girl named Beth, who's walking toward the dining hall with her group of friends. One of the guys peels off toward her, while the other heads in a different direction. Over at the ranger station, Dr. Peter has shown up to warn a ranger officer that something dangerous is roaming these woods, and it's not Bigfoot, like the locals keep brushing it off as. He wants this taken seriously, he wants action, but the officer just gets annoyed, convinced he's pulling some kind of prank on her. Peter pulls out newspaper clippings from recent incidents to back himself up, but she still does by it. She kicks him out. Back at the camp, one of the church group members is creeping around the edge of a pond, ogling girls swimming. He hears the sound of something being chopped nearby. He starts to turn around, and a massive tree crashes down right on top of him. His blood splashes all over a nearby pancake, and we notice that pancake stack is slowly shrinking. The monster has been soaking up the blood like syrup and eating them one by one. One of the two friends is now wandering the woods looking for the other. He stumbles across the creature's giant pancakes, and before he can process anything, the monster has him by the throat, squeezing. His girlfriend hears his scream and rushes toward him, assuming he's just hiding in the bushes messing around. She calls out for him to stop playing games, and then his severed head rolls out and lands at her feet. Before she can even react, the monster steps out right in front of her. It grabs her and starts bending her body like a piece of wood, snapping her limb from limb. She doesn't even get the chance to beg for her life. The monster folds her into the shape of a table, sets his pancake on top of her, decides it's not stable enough, picks her up, and hurls her into a tree. She dies on impact. Back at the ranger station, the deputy is happily chowing down on pancakes. The officer is sitting at her desk, studying the newspaper clippings Peter left behind, starting to wonder if maybe there's something to all of this. She's on a phone call when she hears something strange outside. She grabs her gun and steps out to check. Nothing. But the moment she turns back toward the office, the monster is right there in her face. It slams her to the ground. Without hesitating, she unloads her gun into it, bullet after bullet until it drops. She moves closer to check, convinced it's dead, but fires a few more rounds just to be safe, then rushes inside to make a call. That's when she feels it, the monster's axe buried into her back. It wasn't dead. She frantically sweeps everything off her desk and fights back. Spotting the syrup the deputy had been using on his pancakes, she grabs it and drenches the monster with it. It bursts into flames and flees. Meanwhile, Beth is in the kitchen mixing up a recipe using something called lumberjack butter, but nobody's feeling it. The whole group ends up goofing off and teasing her about it. Soon the room fills with laughter and the party really gets going. But right in the middle of all of it, the monster crashes through the wall. It tracked them down by the noise. Most people scramble and get out, but one of the guys, the one who was getting high earlier, gets caught. The monster slams him into the wall over and over and over, not stopping until every last bit of life leaves him. Two of the girls who managed to get out last are now sprinting through the woods toward the camp when one of them gets her foot caught in a trap. She's yanked up into the air, hanging upside down from a rope tied to a tree. She screams for help. The other girl hesitates for just a second and then runs, doesn't look back. The hanging girl barely has time to process that before the monster is right beside her. It drives a piece of wood straight through her forehead, then opens her up like a tap, blood pouring out of her head and dripping all over the pancakes below. At this point, we see only a few pancakes left in the stack. The other girl, completely unraveling with terror, runs so hard and so blind that she loses track of where she's going. Out of nowhere, the monster slams her in the face with his pancake. She hits the ground. She can't see him anywhere. She forces herself back up and keeps running. She's barely looking around when, smack, the pancake hits her face again. By now she's so badly hurt she can barely move, let alone speak. The monster walks over calmly, pancake in hand, and beats her with it, over and over until she stops moving entirely. That night, Dr. Peter is driving somewhere when a figure stumbles into his headlights. The ranger officer, badly beaten. Peter already knows exactly what happened. He doesn't waste a second. He gets her into the car and drives. Back at the ranger station, the deputy steps outside calling out for the officer, turns and comes face to face with the monster's pancake. His eyes light up. But then the monster appears behind him and hammers blow after blow into his back, drenching the pancakes in his blood. The deputy dies. Another one gone. In the car, Peter is staring very closely at a container of lumberjack butter because earlier that day, he had gone to the camp to warn Doug and everyone else. The monster isn't just some creature, it's a man, or was one. His name was Nehemiah Easterday, better known as Lumberjack. Peter had shown everyone that same lumberjack butter package to explain. He took them back to 1892. A company owner was hunting in the woods when a scent stopped him cold. It was unlike anything he'd ever smelled, irresistible, magnetic. He followed it until he found a cabin, and inside that cabin, a lumberjack was in the middle of making pancakes for his family. The lumberjack offered him some. One bite, and the man was completely undone. He had never tasted anything like it in his life. Right there, greed took over. He offered the lumberjack money, just give me the recipe. The lumberjack refused. That refusal was a death sentence. The greedy man shoved the lumberjack's head into his own syrup and held it there until the life left him. He ransacked the cabin, found the recipe, and used it to build a company under his own name, a man named Jepson. The brand exploded. He became filthy rich. But 30 years later, the lumberjack crawled out of his grave, and he's been hunting ever since, cutting down everyone in his path. Peter knew all of this because as a child, Lumberjack had attacked him too, but somehow he got away. Nobody at the camp believed a word of it. They ran Peter off, but as he left, he warned them. If Lumberjack finishes all his pancakes, if he eats through the whole stack, he becomes something far worse, far more powerful. The next evening, everyone sits down to dinner. Pancakes are on the menu, and peels back a face. A human face, cut into the exact shape of a pancake. He and the girl next to him start screaming, and then Lumberjack kicks the door in. Now everyone finally believes Dr. Peter. But before they can do a single thing, Lumberjack sends his axe flying, and the girl right in front of him is dead before she hits the ground. Chaos takes over. Everyone scatters to hide. One man freezes completely, too shocked to move. Lumberjack cuts both his arms off in a single motion, then tears his head from his body. It lands squarely on the pancake. Doug barricades himself in a room with Beth and the remaining survivors. On the other side of the door, Lumberjack is working through the others. Their screams are bone-chilling. A girl pounds on the door begging to get in, and Lumberjack kills her right there in the hallway. When night falls, Doug and the others make a break for it, but Lumberjack smashes through the door. His eyes are wilder, more furious than ever. One of the guys grabs the door and tells everyone to run while he holds it, but he doesn't run himself. Lumberjack drives a rod straight through his chest and drags him inside. Racing toward the woods, Beth and Reggie stumble across their friend Jessie, sitting perfectly still, not moving at all. Reggie reaches out to touch her and her entire body falls apart in pieces. Lumberjack had already gotten to her. The two of them bolt to the camp garage. Dr. Peter tracks them down there not long after, carrying syrup because the ranger officer had told him that syrup is what burns him. Doug refuses to believe any of it and declares he's not dying with the rest of them. He takes off running alone. Moments later, everything from his waist down is sliced clean off. His lower half stumbles forward and collapses, and his upper body snags on a barbed wire fence. Doug is done. Lumberjack finishes off the last of his pancakes with Doug's blood, and the moment the final one is gone, he lets out a scream that shakes the air. Beth and Reggie grab a chainsaw and head straight for Lumberjack's cabin, the place where he made his pancakes. He shows up right behind them. The chainsaw won't start. Lumberjack rips it out of Reggie's hands and hurls it outside, then grabs Reggie by the throat and moves in for the kill, when the deputy suddenly appears. He wasn't dead after all, but this time, Lumberjack reaches into his stomach, pulls out his intestines, and shoves them into his mouth. The deputy dies for real. Then Dr. Peter arrives and opens fire, but Lumberjack doesn't even flinch. He gets back up, grabs his axe, walks outside, knocks Peter down, and drags Beth inside the cabin by her throat. That's when she spots it, an enormous drum of syrup. She drenches herself head to toe in it. Lumberjack sees it and loses his mind with rage. He charges, and Beth catches his head and holds on, setting him ablaze. He writhes and screams as his whole body burns. Beth makes it out, and then the entire cabin explodes, taking Lumberjack with it for good. The next morning, the four survivors, Dr. Peter, Beth, Reggie, and the ranger officer, are shown together alive. And on that note, the story ends.